The largest folk culture festival in the country is happening in North Central Florida this weekend. TV20's Ethan Badowski shows us how people celebrated the history of Florida.
There was plenty of head bopping and foot tapping going around at the 71st Annual Florida Folk Festival. Organizers say it's the oldest of its kind in the country.
I was in high school here, and they would bring our classes up here. So it's just always been a tradition. I've missed very few years.
Folk music spreads across 88 acres at the Stephen Foster Folk Culture Center State Park.
I like the diversity of the people that are here. I feel like it's a good crowd with a lot of people from different backgrounds.
There are more than 300 performers on the lineup for the three-day festival, as the music is the main attraction.
I'll tell you the story of Bloodshot Bill who killed the sheriff.
Although there are plenty of other displays of Florida history and culture. Visitors could also come and get demonstrations of all kinds of trades, such as tin typing, blacksmithing, and carpet weaving.
They have different countries doing different dance and music.
There are more than 10 stages at the festival, and some people even set up their own tents for jam sessions together.
I think this setting is really unique. It's very North Florida. It's comfortable, shady. Everything about it's perfect.
As for Florida history, this year includes a tribute to the town of Rosewood. 100 years after the tragic massacre, people honored that community's resilience.
We are not only able to share our culture, we also learn from other cultures.
The festival ends Sunday, but the memories celebrating folk culture will last a lifetime. In White Springs, Ethan Badowski, TV20 News.